And here we go. We're not canceled. Box Kev isn't here, but it's all good. The show still goes on. My name is DJ E-Rock. This is the Hot Box Podcast. You might be watching us on YouTube. You might be listening to us on the radio right now on Radio Basement. You might be, listening to us on the iHeartRadio app. But like I said, the show goes on, man. Kev will be back like another day. I don't know, but we'll be fine. We'll be fine because we got a special guest in studio right now. He goes by the name of Mike Snedegar from TAO Group.
What's up, man?
How you doing? I'm happy to have you in here right now, man.
Yes, thanks for having me.
No, dude. Hey, thank you for making the time. You're a very busy man.
Hey, listen, I make time for you any day.
That's my guy right there. That's right. Mike Snedegar from TAO Group is in the building, and we're going to talk about a whole bunch of things, man. Like exactly what do you do for TAO Group? Because some people, I know they've seen you all over the place, big on social media. You're probably hanging out with some of your favorite celebrities, and you're on TV, and stuff when you're speaking on the behalf of the company. What exactly do you do for TAO Group?
Well,
you're like everything.
I kind of work across a few different departments.
Okay.
But my title is Entertainment Marketing Director. Okay, that's what my actual title is. But I like to tell people, if people kind of like ask me, I say what I kind of really focus on mostly.
Okay.
It is my main role to create, maintain, and expand upon relationships with people that carry a certain amount of influence in the entertainment industry.
Okay.
And that's across all different aspects of entertainment. It could be like an influencer, could be a pop star, could be a rapper, could be somebody in the NFL, could be an adult actor, performer, could be anybody that carries and holds a certain amount of influence in their field in the entertainment industry, to create, cultivate, and expand on those relationships, and to bring those people into our venues and experience the brand and experience TAO Group as a whole, and to weave them into the culture of the brand, make them a part of it, make them so that like they don't just come once, but they come to us in Vegas, and then they start going to us in LA, they start going to us in New York, they start going to us in London or Singapore or all over the world. That's
crazy. Now, TAO Group is a very big company.
Yes.
Very big company. How many venues would you say that TAO Group owns?
Internationally?
Yeah, everything. The whole picture.
68.
68?
Right now, yeah. I
wow.
believe that's the right number. Technically 68.
And you have like literally the capability of sending people to any one of these 68 venues.
Yeah. Doing
what you do.
Yeah.
It's a lot of responsibility.
Yes, but I mainly focus on Vegas, LA, and New York. And I mean, mainly on the United States, but if I have clients or talent that's going out of seas, I always offer, yeah.
That's great, man. That's amazing. That's a lot. It's a lot on your plate. Like I said, you're a very busy person. You've been with the company for how long now? It's been a minute. It's like, I want to say like when I first heard your name, it was like MySpace days.
17 years.
17 years?
Wait, 16 and a half right now. Almost 17.
And how did this whole entire journey start?
I started with the company in the end of 2005. Mm-hmm. At that time in Vegas, I was working in 2 different nightclubs. I was like a VIP host, which was fun, but I did enjoy it, but it just wasn't like what I really wanted to do.
Yeah.
It was definitely fun, and it was a grind, but I think that it just wasn't for me. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day. But that's what I was doing at the time. And then I was also writing a nightlife column for this magazine that was in Vegas at the time called 944.
Oh, wow.
And it was a magazine that was kind of centered around Las Vegas, nightlife, restaurants, and they would have these pictorials inside the magazine. Of
I remember very well. Yeah.
Yeah, like party photos.
I missed those.
This was like before Instagram, before social media. This was like 2000, like 5, 6, 7, around there. And so, like, you know, you would be out at a party, and then like everybody would be like, oh, you know, they'd see you in the magazine, whatever. So it was fun.
It was literally like the way to be seen back then.
It was one of the ways, yes.
You know what I'm saying? I remember when you would, when someone would appear in like 944 magazine, that was a really big deal. You know?
Yeah, it was for sure. And it was like a very, almost like, to me, I still have a lot of them, and they're kind of like yearbooks in a way. Because
that's the best way to explain them, I think. Yeah.
I kind of think of those years as like my college years, kind of, because I went to college for a year, and it was fun, but my parents, we ran out of money. We couldn't really afford it financially, and I just didn't really like school that much at the time.
I didn't either. So I agree with you.
So I consider those my college years. But yeah, so I was also writing that column, and I was out constantly because I was working at 2 clubs, writing this column. So I was out like 4 or 5 nights a week, sometimes 6. And the editor of the magazine asked me to write an editorial piece about Jason Strauss, who is currently the co-CEO of TAO Group, but also at the time he was one of the partners of TAO Las Vegas, and they were coming out here to open up TAO inside the Venetian.
And that was the first TAO Group venue here
in Vegas, yes.
In Vegas.
Yes.
Okay.
In Vegas, yes. So in New York, they had TAO Midtown, which opened in, I think, 2000, if I'm not mistaken, or 99, either 99 or 2000. But I remember, like, I didn't really know that much about TAO. Like, I remember that TAO was on an episode of Sex and the City. Like, that's what I remember. Like,
for sure.
And like, that's all I kind of knew about it. And anyway, Jason was coming to Vegas to open TAO, and he was moving here. And they were like, I had met him once already, just being out, because he was going out almost every night of the week trying to meet as many people as he could. And they were like, you know, we want you to spend a couple days with him and go out with him and write an article about him coming to Vegas and opening TAO. So I did, and we went to a few dinners, and I went out with him 1 or 2 nights, and he was kind of like, he's like, you know, you're great. You know, I would love to have you here, you know, to kind of like work the door, because you know everybody, and so on and so forth, and be at the door and kind of like help recognize all those key people, key locals, and make sure that they get in smoothly, whatever. And
what year is this again?
2005.
Wow.
I know. But at the time, that wasn't really what I wanted to do. So they opened in September of 2005, TAO did. And then I went back to him in November, and I said, hey, you know, I'd love to discuss coming to work for you, but I don't want to be at the door. I don't want to be a host. And he was like, well, what do you want to do? And I said, I'd rather just be like your assistant, because I wanted something different.
For sure.
And he was like, well, my assistant actually just went back to New York, so I do need one. So after, it took like a couple weeks, but I got the job as his assistant, and basically I took a pretty significant pay cut from going from VIP hosting at 2 clubs to becoming somebody's assistant is a pretty change in
sure,
income.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that's an investment, though. You know what I mean? And that investment is obviously paid off tenfold.
1,000. No. Like, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, that was the reason I'm saying this, and I'm being transparent about it, is because that ended up being one of the best things that I could have ever done, because at that time the marketing department at TAO was extremely minimal. It was like maybe 3 people or 4 people, me being one of them.
Wow.
And so the place opened, and it just was like lightning struck. I mean, it was like hot from the get-go. Crazy, like celebrity, like, you know, crazy reservations, trying to get a dinner reservations. The nightclub was going off. So it was the perfect timing of me transitioning my career, but also being at the right place at the right time, and also kind of realizing that I didn't want to go this way. I wanted to go the longer route and change my career, because I had already done the hosting thing, which served its purpose, of course.
For sure, yeah.
But
And I'm sure you still have like a lot of relationships, like, you know, from that, like, you know, era of your career as well, that still, like, you know, that you use to your advantage in today, right? Or
yeah, because everything prepares you for where you're going.
oh, absolutely,
You just don't realize it at the time.
oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Do you recall day zero, day one, your first day on the job, and how you felt and the things you had to do and whatnot? Like,
Yeah, it was. I was in the office with Jason, and I would start with him in the morning, and we would just go through the list, and I was learning like how his schedule works, like, and who everybody was in the New York office, and like what time his conference calls were, and what calls were the most important, and those kinds of things that you do when you get to know somebody by being their assistant. And also like how the company worked. Like it honestly, part of the reason I say it was my college years was because I learned how to do so many things in a very short amount of time, from writing a press release for an event to how a red carpet works, how it gets set up, like how,
working with casinos,
aspects, working with publicists, celebrities, how to submit an ad that goes into a magazine, like like the kind of resolution that photos have to be before they can be printed, like all different kinds of things that, like, you know, that you learn.
No, for sure. You know, TAO has grown into this massive, you know, company, and you know, we've covered it that you are one of those guys to be one of the most connected dot connectors of today. What goes into being, you know, that person, like, you know, on a day-to-day basis? Like, you know, I mean, obviously you have your relationships, but I mean, you're obviously gaining new ones day after day after day and stuff like that. Like, what goes into that?
Well, I don't know quite how to start with that. I would say that what goes into it is just a lot of like following up. Like when I work in my office, like I work off my laptop, because I like to have I like to do all my text messages on my laptop because it's so much faster.
Yeah.
So like I do a lot of work actually on text, and so it's like I start my day, like I work out in the morning, and then I get to the office, and like I start my day by like today's Monday. So I started my day by going through all my text messages from the last like 3 days. So I started back from Friday to kind of like follow up on, like, was there somebody I didn't get back to? Who did I tell somebody that I was going to do something and I didn't remember what it was? Like, you know, to thanking somebody for coming in and having dinner, to all those kinds of just like little things that make a big difference, because just because you might be busy, you don't want somebody to think that you're too busy for them. You know what I mean?
No, for sure.
Because
like,
you know,
ignoring. I mean, you don't want someone to feel like they've been ignored, or especially if you're in the hospitality business.
Yeah, of course.
You know, you have to be hospitable, and being hospitable, like there's a lot of follow up and just making sure, hey, you good? Like,
yes.
Are you good? Are we good? All right, cool. How can we be better? You know, so
yeah. And I would say that it's really just comes back to a lot of the stuff that I learned from Jason and Noah, which is a lot of, I kind of like to call it, or relationship marketing in a way, which is like essentially that people want to work with people that they know and that they trust and that they like. So if you make time for somebody and you go out of your way for them, then they're going to go out of their way for you.
Absolutely.
So, you know, that's always, I guess that would be kind of the way that I try to go about it.
It's crazy. I remember working for somebody back in the day, and when you're bringing up relationship marketing, I remember they had brought up something to that notion, going like, you know what, man, to survive in this business, the first thing is at least make sure they like you.
Yeah.
At least make sure they like you. Go ahead.
Speaking of relationship marketing, I want to give a shout out to Yes Jules. Do you know?
Of course,
Yes Jules?
Yeah. I haven't seen her in a minute though. She's actually engaged now, right?
She's engaged. She had her baby.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So she lives in Miami still, but yeah. So the reason I brought her up is because I remember she did a post on, I can't remember if it was Instagram story or Snapchat, but it was like her. It was in the middle. It was like her in the middle of the club, like kind of grinding on her friend, and she was holding a drink, and she put on the photo. She said, "When people ask me what I do, I say marketing." Because that's what so many people I don't think understand that aspect of it. It's like it is exhausting.
It's very exhausting.
Like constant, like if you're taking somebody out, but that's the thing, because many people will be like, how do you know all these people, or how did you meet this person? How did you meet that person? It's like, if you have the opportunity and you put in the work and you cultivate that relationship, then it's going to cultivate you. But if you there are some nights where I have to listen to my body, and I'm just like, you know what, I can't do it tonight. But it's like I
just started doing that.
Yeah, but it
took me moving here for me to start doing that, which is crazy.
Yeah, but there are those nights where it's like, I'm really tired and I don't want to get up and be sociable and have dinner with this person, but I know that I want to meet this person, and this person is going to be a great addition to our brand, and getting to know them and having them be a fabric of our community. And it's like, at the end of the day, I'm very grateful to have my job, because I've had so many bad jobs that it's like, oh, woe is me, I have to get up and have dinner. Oh, you know what I mean? It's like, you got to remind yourself too, because I did, what's
the worst job you've ever had?
Well, I would say the one that I enjoyed the least was being a dishwasher.
Oh man, yeah.
But
definitely you've came a long way since that.
Yes. The one that I enjoyed the least was being a dishwasher, but in some ways I actually really liked it too, because you're kind of in your own area and you're the dishwasher, so nobody bothers you, because you have so much to deal with.
Yeah.
So you're like, everybody's like, oh man, and then the bus boys come back there with like bus tubs full of dirty plates, and they're like, boom, and the kitchen's bringing over all these giant pans that are dirty, and you got to scrub them before you put them in the dishwasher.
Yeah.
It's that's a job, but at the same time, it's you got your music, and I was sitting back there listening to my shitty stereo with my NSYNC bleached blonde hair, because this was in '98, I think.
Was that here in Vegas?
No, it was in Kentucky. That's where
okay.
I'm from.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So and then I had I worked when I first moved here, I had 6 jobs in my first year. I just couldn't really.
Jesus.
Because everybody always tells you, they'd be like, oh, you moved to Vegas and you could make $100,000 as a bartender. But they don't tell you that even to get a job as a busboy, you kind of have to know somebody. Kind of. I mean, at that time, that's the way it felt to me, because I just moved here.
I think more than ever now. Because there's so many people trying to come here. And so many people that have heard that same thing. Hey, you can make $100,000 as a, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So many people are now going, all right, I'm going. Look at these auditions for waitresses. You can fill a whole entire 3 nightclubs full of people with them.
I know.
It's crazy,
And I had I think 6 or 7 jobs my first year, working at restaurants, waiting tables, which was fine. I actually loved waiting tables, but I just didn't wait. I couldn't really get a good job at a good restaurant, so I would be working at places and just like making like $20 a shift. And I cried. I was like, I wanted to leave here. I wanted to go back home. Like, I really hated it my first year. Honestly, it took a year for me to get a good job. And then it took about another year and a half for me to like meet solid people, solid friends.
And you got that from going out and just being around. And
From being in a better work environment.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. You've been here for quite some time. You've seen this town grow. You've seen this town go through a lot. What's the most incredible moment you've been able to witness here in Vegas?
In like,
and just the time you've been here, like, what's the most incredible thing you've seen on like, top of mind, like, wow, I just witnessed something that just that no one really gets to see other than someone like myself.
I would say,
isn't it crazy? Like, when you actually stop what you're doing and you have to recall everything.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
I've done a lot.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of wild and like things that involve like celebrities and like surprise performances and
which one sticks out the most though? There's got to be one.
I mean, I remember. I would say I remember being at House of Blues, and I think the concert. I think it was Q-Tip, and Prince came out on stage.
Holy shit!
With his guitar, and then started playing guitar
during a Q-Tip show.
Yeah,
at House of Blues.
House of Blues. Yeah, that was really cool.
Wow.
And when Jay-Z did the Hangar tour, when he was promoting that album with the red cover.
I don't know why I'm drawing a blank, but I know you're talking about that.
Yes, it was like 2006, I think, when that came out. It was 2006, I believe. And he did the Hangar tour, and he flew from all these different cities within like 24 hours, performed at the airport in a hangar, did a concert, and then like flew to another city. And he was doing it like within this set time frame. And he ended it in Vegas at TAO.
Wow.
Yeah, it was just like the excitement was, cause people were waiting, and he ended up going on like around 3 a.m. And so people were like coming over from like all of their nightclubs, and like, Paris and Nicki were there, and like some other celebrities were there. And like, it was just like the excitement of it all at the time. It was
absolutely.
And like just being around like people when they are affecting pop culture heavily at the time. So like being around the Kardashians when the show had been on because I had met Kim in like 2006, and then the show came on in 2007, and then I remember like around 2009, it was like this mania. And like I remember like doing the events and just the people and like the like screaming and like the excited, like
it just sounds overwhelming. Like, wow.
Yeah, it was. I haven't. There's not been a lot of. I haven't seen a lot of people get so wildly excited like that. I mean, I have seen it a lot, but that was definitely one of the biggest times. And then being around Khaled, when the Snapchat thing happened, he was literally like walking virality. Like, I mean, it was, I have never seen anything like it to this day.
He could sneeze and like literally he's getting like 1 million views. It's crazy.
It was like, I remember we had a show booked with him, and because I had been working with him for like 2 years before that happened. And then we already had like some shows already booked, and then it happened, and I was like, whoa, what's going on? You know what I mean? And I remember we were in his hotel room at the Venetian because we were doing a show at TAO, and like I remember he was picking up his phone, And he was like, all right. He's like, I'm going to tell everybody to meet me in the lobby of the Venetian. I was like, no. I was like, no. I was like, you can't do that. You can't do that. And he was like, why not? And he was like, I was like, no. I was like, there's going to be all these people. And he did it anyway. And like, it had not been maybe 20 minutes. And we come downstairs, like not even to the lobby. We're just at like the casino floor from the room elevator. And I'd never seen anything like that, man. It was just like hundreds of people there already, like kids, adults.
That's
and then
incredible.
He like
There's a lot of magic in moments like that.
He came out and it was like, rah, and you could feel the energy go from like the front to the back. And yeah, so like being around people when they are affecting pop culture in such a big way is something that you can't replicate that.
For sure. You mentioned that you met Kim back in what year again?
I think it was 2006 when she had came with Paris. I think it was the first anniversary of TAO opening in Vegas.
Wow.
I think that's where I met her the first time.
That's great. And how do you cultivate these relationships with some of these very high profile people? Because I feel like, especially with me, I interview people like literally like every other day, but I feel like, and you're probably in the same position to where it's like, you deal with people that are somewhat very closed off, you know what I mean? Because of what they do, they don't allow a lot of access. How do you cultivate those relationships to get to where they're at today?
I think it's just a mixture between knowing that I'm not trying to be this person's friend. Meaning like I'm, if these people, they're guests and they're coming in to have dinner and it's my job, I just make sure that everything is handled, everything is smooth, there's no issue. And then like after a period of time, if we have a good rapport and a friendship develops, then that's great. But there are certainly a lot of talent that I work with all the time that
This is straight business
that I'm not like friends with. Wow. So that's the difference is I'm not trying to be somebody's friend. Of course, like if a relationship develops and we nurture it and things grow, yes, of course. But it's still business, of course.
Of course,
yeah. So like I think it's the I guess it's like serving the purpose of just making sure that they are taken care of and not bothered and leaving them alone. And because people respect that, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like when you're the only person in the room who doesn't ask for a photo, people catch that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so
I agree with you 110% right there.
So it's like I always just try to like, always remember that I'm there to work and I'm serving the purpose of our brand and our venues and being respectful and that aspect.
What's the favorite thing about what you do today?
I would say working with people that are affecting pop culture in a way. People that are the kind of like the best, some of the best at what they do and some of the most popular at what they do, and being around it because, people have, there have been, celebrities and talent that have offered me jobs and things over the years, but I never was interested in that life because there's a difference between being around somebody for maybe one night or a weekend, when somebody's in Vegas.
Versus like every gaping moment when you wake up.
Then being working with talent full time every day where it's like your life. Yeah. This way is
and the dynamic changes for sure. I'm pretty positive the dynamic will change.
Yeah.
If course. You're on someone's payroll, and you're there every moment, the access to you obviously is infinite, So.
Yeah, that's a valid point too. Because I am from Kentucky, so a lot of people are kind of surprised when they hear that. But my family is from Kentucky and West Virginia, so I grew up in Lexington mainly, which is it's a great place to live. Lexington, Kentucky, UK basketball, horse country. I loved growing up there. I just didn't want to stay there. But that part of my life, like small town, very low key, like that's still a part of who I am. So like, while I might be around a lot of, entertainment celebrity like craziness and nightclubs and things, like
your upbringing still keeps you grounded.
I don't get that's not my lifestyle. That's my job. It's my work.
Sure.
And so like I keep it very separate. So like when I have a very normal life, like I get up, go to the gym, go to the office, and then on the weekends when I have to be out and I'm working or taking somebody to dinner, I do all those things. But I mean, literally, I remember doing, I think it was like Kim's birthday at TAO, and she had just gotten engaged to Kanye, and it was like huge, like press, it was everywhere. And we did her birthday at TAO, and it was like this really massive press thing, and it was all over the place, and it was like, I mean, like billions of media impressions, right? And it was like really so cool to be involved with that. But it was like people like see these photos and they see me like maybe like on the show in the background, whatever, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
But the next day I literally was like taking my mom and dad to Walmart because they needed to go to Walmart. So it's like that's not my life,
Yeah, it's what you do, not who you are.
Yeah.
It doesn't define you.
Yeah.
No, I totally understand it, man. I mean, it's crazy. Like I said earlier, how it took me moving here to start kind of like, understanding, I got to take care of myself a little bit better and stuff like that. And even just like the dynamic of Vegas, like now I have no desire to go to the Strip whatsoever, unless I'm like working or hanging out with people like you and like, my day ones with Eric or, the other Eric with Vice or Five or something like that. That's like, the ticket to get me out of the house. But then like, it's the same thing. Like, for me, like, I may DJ at all these places, I may be on the radio, like, every day in Los Angeles and San Francisco and all these other places, but it doesn't define me. Like, I still love staying at home, watching TV, watching sports with my girl and my dogs, and literally not answering my phone whatsoever. And that is literally something I still need to figure out how to get paid to do. But, the unfortunate part is that I still got to work, so I still got to go to the Strip and whatnot. But, I totally understand that 110% more than anything. Who are some of your favorite people to work with? DJs, influencers, celebrities. People in the office, maybe someone doesn't get their flowers like they should. It's like, this person's an amazing person. This person is great at what they do.
I love working with Lenny S at Rock Nation.
Okay.
I love working with Nelly from Nelly Ortiz, who is from Rock Nation, but now she's on Khaled's team. I love working with the two of them so much, and because I've been working with them for so many years that like we have a great rapport and a great relationship, and so I love working with them, and I love working with the Kardashians. Family, any of them, they obviously are not doing like a lot of like club appearances, but we actually just did something with Kendall. Kendall was at the opening of TAO Beach, so it was kind of like a little bit of a full circle moment for me because I am now like going to the next generation. So I started with the older sister, now I'm with the younger sister. So I was like. And I love working with, I also like working with up and coming talent, new talent. I love working with creators. And I love working with anybody that loves what they do, honestly, because I just find it interesting. And people always ask me, they'll be like, "Oh, who's like the person that the worst person to work with? Or who's the
That's actually the next question. Hey, you don't have to name it, but I mean, I'm sure that you have ran into those situations before, and you're just like, oh man, thank God that person's on the plane already. Jesus.
The answer that I always give to that question is that honestly, it's not like I haven't run into that a lot of times, but obviously in 16 years it has happened.
Yeah.
And I would just say that it's generally somebody who gets a large amount of fame in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Because they're just not
they don't know how to handle it
equipped to handle it. Because almost always the bigger the talent or the celebrity, the easier and the better it is to work with them because they work with the best people. So they have the best team of people around them.
Media training and, just people to mentor them, the right way. And mentorship is very, very, very important.
Yeah.
When you're not working, what are some of the things that you like to do? I mean, it seems like you don't have a lot of free time, but when you do have free time, what is it that Mike Snedegar likes to do?
I don't like to do anything. I don't.
Because you do so much, So
I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to I work out in the morning. I get up at 5:45. I work out at 7. I'm at the office by 9, and then I leave probably somewhere around 6, and then I go home. I have dinner, and then if I have other work to do or if I need to run an errand during the week, then I'll do that. But I am usually during the week. I'm usually in bed by 11 or 11:30.
Wow.
During the week.
That's later than me.
Or maybe
is that crazy to say or no?
Maybe 12, but it's maybe 12, but that's it. That's during the week, and then the weekends is all over the place. 3 weeks ago, I took somebody to Crazy Horse, and I was out until 5:30 in the morning. So it's all over the place. But I don't drink anymore. So I think it's So I'm 9 years sober.
Congratulations.
9. So 9 years sober.
I've known you for a long time.
Yeah.
I've known you for a very long time.
Yeah, because I'm sure you remember some of those.
We might have had a couple great nights,
Yes.
So, yeah.
Allegedly. So yeah, because I'm sober, my body, even if I'm out super late like that, my body will not let me sleep all day. I will still. If I get in bed at 6 a.m, I am still going to wake up at 9:30 at the latest.
Signs of a very healthy person.
Because it just, my body will not let me sleep all day. It just won't. But yeah, so I just try to balance. And there also, I try to, even though I am tired, I try to make it a point to be social at least 2 nights a week. Sometimes 3, depending, meaning I go out, and whether it is...
We had dinner the other night with Eric and Jordan.
Yes. It's how should I say this? It's I feel like it's just the more work that you put into relationships and meeting people and going out, if you put in all that work, it comes back to you, because it definitely did for me. It just does. It's just karma. I don't know another way to say it. It's people will be like, "Oh, how do you know all these people?" It's because you put in the work and you get out there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
But on top of that, though, and this is the friend coming out. You've always been a great person to me. No matter where I've been at in my career, or if you knew me, I was that young guy that was always rolling up with Vice or Deluxe or 5 back in the day. But I think though, also to credit to success is that before you are a great entertainment marketing director or executive, for this monstrosity of a company, named TAO Group. Like, you are a better person more than anything. You're a good person. I think that goes further than anything in this world.
Oh, thank you.
You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate that.
But like I say, like we said it earlier, like, for what, someone like you or myself or, what we do, it's like, it's so important that people like you. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, I definitely, I think a part of that comes from just paying your dues, honestly, because when you start at the bottom, you have done every job and you understand and you appreciate where you are even more because you've done the work to get there.
Yeah.
So it's like, like I said, I've been in hospitality for 20 years, a little bit more than that. So, and I started as a dishwasher. So started as a dishwasher, worked my way up all through restaurants, then got into nightlife, worked my way all through nightlife. So it comes from time.
No, for sure. What are some of the things that you're working on today? I mean, is there anything you can like tease us with, or is there something big about to happen? I don't know. Like, whether it's yourself, TAO Group, anything?
I think what I'm working on right now is, from a personal standpoint, is I'm trying to force myself to read more, because reading
is important.
I do like to read and I do like to learn, but I'll just be straight and honest. I feel like being on my phone has made it harder for me to focus, and harder for me to read. Not to read, but to stay focused in the book and not put it down and check my phone for, you know what I mean?
No, for sure.
So it's like I'm trying to focus on forcing myself to read and focus, and because I want to read more and learn more about like all different kinds of things. So that's something I'm trying to do. I'm trying to work out more and just fitness more and better health mentally. I'm actually going to take a TM course, Transcendental Meditation, because I want to learn.
You know what? I had somebody on the podcast recently by the name of Kizzo. He produced actually the album of the year they won a Grammy for album of the year. I forgot. It was, he works with John Batiste. I don't even know if I said that right. But he said something about like that's like literally when everything is so crazy like in your life, you just really can achieve like really a good amount of just still, you know?
I've been meditating for off and on for years, but TM is more of like a definite like a rigid practice, and that's kind of like what I feel like I need. Because it's like set time, morning and evening, and they kind of teach you this method behind meditating. So that's definitely something that I'm going to focus on in the next couple of months. And then as in regard to work, I mean, we're growing as a company very, very quickly.
Massive.
We just opened, obviously we have Lavo Ristorante in LA that recently opened. We just opened Lavo in San Diego.
Huge.
And there's a lot of really exciting projects that are coming down the line.
I mean, I'm sure you guys are going to be involved in the MSG sphere, right?
We are.
That's something
yes.
that's obviously. I mean, you land right there. You know what I
Yes.
mean? I mean, and I heard like a lot of things like that's like a very like that experience is going to be like, I don't know what the word is, like sensorial or something like that, but it's just something that's going to invigorate every sense that the human can literally experience, like, when you're actually there. Like,
it's going to be really just the next level of entertainment. Like, it's really beyond anything that I think we've seen before. So it's obviously very, very exciting.
Can I get free tickets? Or I mean, like,
of course,
that's all.
you got it.
That's all I want, man. Free tickets, free tickets. That's all I want, man. So what's next for you, man? Next 5 years, 10 years.
Well, I for the next 5 years, I would say, continuing to expand on what I do now, but also continuing to expand on what I do, but also in different kinds of ways through different kinds of media. Whether it's like I'm just now starting to get into like NFTs and things.
I haven't like dove down the rabbit hole yet, but I know that there's one to dive down.
Yeah. So I mean, I know I'm late to the party, so to speak, but it's definitely something that I think everybody should start to learn and educate themselves about. And it's super interesting, and the metaverse and all those kinds of things. I'm really interested in that.
Do you think like, there would be a metaverse version of like TAO or something like that down the line? I mean, is that something that like, you could talk to Jason and Noah about?
I think that's a really cool idea.
Wow. You heard it here first, guys.
Yeah.
You heard it here first. When you can attend a TAO event in the metaverse, you heard it here first. Hopefully I DJ it. That's it. That's all I want.
Yeah. I mean, Paris actually she has done a DJ set like in the metaverse.
Really?
Yeah, and she got into all of that stuff she's been into it for a while, way before a lot of other people. So she's very smart that way.
Yeah. I mean, I think to last this long in this business, like, adaptation, being able to adapt and being able to to take on the new trend and take that to the next level is very important. So,
yeah.
That's right. I love the fact that we got to have this conversation. I think this is the first time where it's not been at like a dinner table or like at a club
with a loud music in the background.
Loud music in the back.
What?
Some crazy comments flying across the table. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's my like. That's the other thing. It's like my hearing is not the best. I've been wearing earplugs for at least 10 years, at least. And my hearing is sometimes not the best, and I'll be like, what? And people will be like, what's wrong with you? I'll be like, bro, I was like, give me a break.
No, it's the same thing with me. Like, I probably have one of the loudest monitors in Vegas for at least like the open format guys. Like, and people will literally come up to the booth and say hi to me, and they're just like, whoa, shit. I'm like, dude, sorry, dude. Or the or I wouldn't say the best. I'd say the worst, because I feel bad for girls that do this. But girls that come into the booth, and then if I put my headphones down, they're still turned up. Put my headphones down. Somebody manages to go up to my headphones and literally puts them on and tries to take a picture or tries to mess around. Oh man, they get a rude awakening. Oh, I feel bad. God. I feel bad. At first I would laugh about it, but now I'm just like, you know what? Maybe I used to laugh about it because it's not that bad for me. But then again, like, I've definitely lost some hearing along the way, obviously as a DJ, but someone will put it on and be like, oh my God. Like, and it's like, I feel so bad, but yeah, I'm definitely there with you. But no, thank you for making time, man.
Thanks for having me.
I've known you for a very long time,
yes.
and I'm happy that, we get to have this conversation and we get to at least like even educate the people, that pay attention to my platform and get them to be excited about all the great things that you're doing and TAO is doing. Obviously, I do a lot of, work with TAO. I do a lot of venues. I do TAO. I do TAO Chicago. I do Marquee. And now, like, with the addition of all the Hakkasan venues that used to be Hakkasan venues, I'm doing those too. So, it's very important. It was very important to make sure that, like, my people knew, like, what the program was.
That's right.
That's right. Mike Snedegar. He is in the building. Hey, can you actually put the lower third up and let people know where they can catch you and if they want to find out more about you, follow you, and everything?
Oh yeah,
there it is, right there.
On the screen. Yeah, you can check me out on Instagram and TikTok.
There it is.
Come check me out. And I get a lot of people DM me a lot about
free dinners.
Well, people DM me a lot. Well, sometimes, but a lot. I get a lot of kids in like kids in college. They'll be like, oh, like, because they see me like on like Kardashians. They'll be like, oh, like, how did you get that job? And like, what do you do? And blah blah blah. So I always tell people to, that like this was not a job that like I applied for. This is a job that I evolved into. And so like it's definitely, I always just tell people to, if you want this kind of a job, like an exciting type of a job in hospitality, then I always think it's better to one, live in like an exciting place. So I left Kentucky because even though I loved it, I left it because I just didn't want to stay there. I wanted something different. So if you're living in like a smaller town, I always encourage people to maybe move to a bigger city, and then to seek out like a really like a hospitality company, or like if it's a nightlife that you want to get into or whatever it is, just get your foot in the door and be humble and start, work your way up, and then just be consistent. As DJ Riz says, consistency equals longevity.
Yes, absolutely. This is a great way to close the podcast.
Yes.
Thank you again for stopping by. Appreciate you. That's right. Mike Snedegar, TAO Group.
All right.
We are out of here. The Hotbox Podcast, Radio Basement. Don't forget, every single Tuesday, we drop a new episode. At the same time, you can also hear excerpts from all these episodes on Real 92.3 out in Los Angeles, Real 103.9 in the city of Las Vegas, 997 now in San Francisco, and all around the country on a couple other stations that we're at as well. So any last words before that?
No, man. Thank you so much for having me.
My man. Let's go.
Hey.
The Hotbox.